All right, so I use this, I guess this would be the harmonic balancer, this fan pulley, this pulley itself, to lift the car. And I mentioned the board. And when lifting this car up, obviously you have to take the belly pan off. Be careful of the actual oil pans and stuff. Make sure you're on that, on the lip of that fan or that pulley. When lifting up, I would say probably if you're going to do it this way, I think an engine hoist would probably be best to have as a backup. There's an eye hook under here, and I would have an engine hoist here holding it while you're lifting it up, because I'm going to tell you what happened to me, and it wasn't good. Now, I ordered or bought this Harbor Freight engine hoist setup, but this car is not designed for that, and there's a special hoist that I think I saw in Pelican Parts you can buy, but it's pretty expensive, and just wish I would have found one on Craigslist or something, or Marketplace, and got a hoist. And I have another Cayenne, so the next time I do this, I will have a hoist. You can do it the way I'm going to tell you, but I wouldn't. So again, jack it up with that board that I mentioned right on the bottom of that, and I lifted it up. I would have a person here holding that jack and the wheel in position. Have a person installing that. This one it's simple, easy, lift up, take out, no problem. The hellhole side that I've mentioned is very difficult, just because it's pretty tight in there, and it seemed like that the newer one was about 2 inches taller, which it made it very difficult for me to get in. I think besides that, it should be a fairly easy job. So again, safety. When you're lifting that up, my jack fell out and the engine fell down. Now, I already had that one in there, so it fell down and kind of tilted to the left. Freaked out, lifted it back up, fell down again. So again, super dangerous. So I would definitely tell you to take this thing off and use the engine eye hook. And I've seen somebody also hook a chain off the back of a bolt here, but this should be enough if you're lifting from the bottom, and it would stabilize it. Now the cosmetic parts, I'm gonna leave off. The belly pan I put on. I'm worried now with the engine falling down. I already thought I had an exhaust leak. I'm thinking it may have messed that area back there where it's kind of like a wire mesh exhaust, but I'm wondering if that's a leak. I'll have to put some smoke in there and see if it comes out, or if I don't know where the Freon is at in this car. Concerned that maybe I broke a Freon line. Air conditioning's cold right now, so maybe I'm lucky. We'll see. All right, so the board I lifted with is roughly, it's like 12, is it 12 3/4? Around 12 and a half, 12 3/4. You get too long, it's hard to, depending on your jack, how high it, mine's a low profile. So I'd say go 12 inches, probably best. That way it can give you some room. The setup I have is an extension I bought at Harbor Freight that comes with 3. I don't know what this size is, maybe 1/4. And then you have the 16 millimeter and 18 millimeter for the nut. I use this old torque wrench that I use from Harbor Freight. It's been beat up. I don't use it for torquing anymore. I have a nice torque wrench for the settings that I retorqued everything down. But this is really nice because it has a ratchet, and when you get in a bind with trying to loosen stuff up, this gives you the extra leverage you need. It makes everything come to get loose like butter. I also used loosen once I got it loosened up. So basically just taking the bolts out. This doesn't have enough torque to do anything other than I guess it could strip out like a smaller boats, like maybe going to aluminum. But long story short, use this just to speed up some of the job. All right, I got it in there like that. It's shouldn't probably be resting on that wire, but just had to stop to take a photo. So I'll put all the measurements in there in a second. Probably better at this angle, not leaning against the wire. Had some troubles with that shielding and the O2 sensor, so don't want to play that game again. Okay, I'm labeling the engine mount just in case there is an orientation of front to back. Don't know, but I thought I would go ahead and label it. And there we go. All right, I've been taking my time, and like I said, I just put it up on a ramp, put it back down. It's 167 degrees. I might have ran it just a little bit because I didn't want to just let it shut off and turn on and turn off real quick. I don't like doing that to cars, but it wasn't idling for very long, so it's definitely heats up pretty quick. Hopefully that doesn't mean it's a bad cat. I don't know, but that's pretty warm. That's set up with my rigged piece of crap torque wrench for bang for your buck and doesn't break your back. That's what I got. I'll show the setup on the ground. All right, so I've got all the bolts and the nut, which obviously these are the nuts, excuse me, the bolts have an ass backwards, and then we got the nut right there. All right, so I've got 2 or 3 of them out, labeled it. So now to the pain in the ass side. I removed the air box, did my traditional, this fell out. Do have a YouTube video about this part and replaced it with, I think, a 957 clip because, or no, actually I think it was a Volkswagen clip. It was like $2-3. But it doesn't stay in perfectly, but it holds in to snap it into place. And then when you're monkeying with it, you gotta be careful. And first thing I did, I dropped it. All right, surprisingly, I was able to get the 2 bolts out and the nut on this mount easy, and I marked it, the front side. It's pretty tight in there with just a marker. So now it's time to lift it. Need to start figuring out how I'm gonna get my hand in there, but I did mark it with a squiggly on the front. All right, so the bolt needs to be 44 pounds, 56 the nut. Go get my torque wrench. I won't be showing that. I accidentally hit this heat shield. I'll probably try to make sure it's not going to move. Other thing I'd like to mention, when I got the driver's side inserted, meaning this is dead center to the mounting area, I took the passenger side and it was off, and I first thought maybe this was bent because, again, I had dropped the engine a little bit, but it's pretty stiff there. So long story short, what I did was I lifted it up just a little bit, and it looked like it would line up to the hole. While it was resting, just lifted it up with the new part. And then I had my son drop the engine with the jack ever so slowly, more of a controlled drop, as it should be. And then once it started centering up, I took my hand off. And again, I didn't feel like I was in an unsafe spot because my hand was out of a pinch point zone. It was just lifting this up just a little bit so it would center up. Once I did that, everything lined up and it was perfect. All right, I took it out for smoke tests. I wanted to show you the parts I bought. They're Corteco, I guess. Part number, hopefully you can see it. 2, obviously, they're the same. I've read somebody else had done this job as well and did and said they were fine, and these seem to be pretty good price. Not the cheapest, not the most, but right in the middle. All right, wrapping this up real quickly. Just a friendly reminder, this is a dangerous job. Have an extra person with you to at least hold the jack in place, like stabilize it with their foot so it doesn't move forward. It's a good idea to have a hoist. You can get one in Marketplace probably for $100. Somebody out there doesn't want it in their garage, is taking up space. I would also say be very careful when you're putting your hand in the pinch point zones. I don't want to be liable for anybody getting hurt, because I feel very lucky that I did not get hurt. And so far, I think the only thing that the outcome of it is I've got a good setup as far as the engine mounts, but may need to fix the flex pipe on the exhaust system. So be very careful on the passenger side when you're loading in the new mount, and then when you're going in from the underside and putting the new mount, be very careful where you're putting your hands, and having somebody there to watch and give you a bird's eye view of what's happening from the top side. Good luck, be safe.
As always, please subscribe.